There are only 3 chairs of the thousands I've used and tested that have made the list on my quest to find S-tier office chairs. Those chairs are the Steelcase Leap, Herman Miller Embody, and Haworth Fern. But one has emerged as my clear favorite. For me, the seat is the most important part of any chair. If the seat isn't comfortable, then I don't really care how great the arms are or the recline is, because I won't be comfortable in the chair anyway. I love the seats on all 3 of these chairs, but they are quite a bit different. One thing you really need to be aware of with high-end ergonomic chairs is that they have thinner seat pads designed to be firm. This is a critical component of a chair being considered ergonomic. Thick padded seats can introduce problems from overheating to circulation issues to bad posture in the lower back. Getting used to a thin seat pad can be painful, literally. This was the case for me when I moved into the world of testing high-end ergonomic chairs, and I urge you to push through the pain of the first couple weeks because you will almost certainly come out the other side much better off, just like I did. When looking at my 3 S-tier picks, the Fern has the most traditional padded design. The foam is very good quality, and it provides a firm sitting experience, which I really like. I will say that the Fern does have the firmest seat of these 3 options, especially when you first get it. It will soften up as you use it, so don't be turned off within the first few days. I think the seat provides amazing support, and the seat pan is a bit of flex to allow you to move more freely in some areas than we see on most high-end chairs. One major downside with the Fern seat is that it's not as deep as the other 2 chairs, and there will be a gap between the back of the seat and the backrest when fully extended. This may be uncomfortable for people that are about 6'1" or taller. The Leap is like the Fern in that it has a traditional padded design. The main differences are going to be the seat pan and the size. The Leap has a firm seat, but I do think it's softer than the Fern, and there are also options on the refurbished chair market to soften up the Leap seat even more. The Leap is more flexible as well. It's the most flexible seat pan of the 3 chairs we're going to look at, and I really like this feature. Being able to move freely, stretch, and change positions really helps me to use the chair for over 8 hours a day without being uncomfortable. The Leap seat has better dimensions for tall people than the Fern, and it doesn't have the same problem of creating a gap in between the back of the seat and the backrest when extending that seat all the way forward. For me, the Leap has the most comfortable seat that I've used on any chair, and I've used a lot of office chairs. The Embody takes a completely different approach than the padded design on the Fern or the Leap. Instead, Herman Miller created a pixelated node system with a very small layer of foam to add some softness. The nodes react and support you based on your weight and shape. I think the system is amazing. For me, it's way better than a mesh seat because it gives you the feeling of you're floating without the pressure points that mesh can create. You also don't need to worry about a gap because the seat depth always supports you because it's connected to the backrest. The one potential downside with the Embody is the handles on the sides of the seat for that seat depth adjustment. They could get in the way of doing things like sitting cross-legged. If you don't think any of these chairs will work for you, check out the link in the description. It has our office chair cheat sheet with all of our comfort rankings. While the seat is certainly the foundation of any office chair, the backrest might be even more important for some people, especially if you have bad back pain. The backs on all 3 chairs are some of the most comfortable options I've ever used, which is a huge reason why I rank them all so highly. While they each have their own unique designs, they all share one characteristic, which is flexibility. All 3 chairs give you the ability to move freely, stretch, and allow yourself to stay loose while using the chair. The Embody and Fern have a narrow back design, which gives you even more freedom to move as compared to the wider back in the Leap. Personally though, I like the wider back in the Leap a bit better. It feels like it's supporting more of my back while still being crazy flexible. The Leap has a thin plastic shell, which gives it flexibility, and then a thin layer of foam and fabric. It has a great S shape, putting your back in the correct ergonomic posture, and when it comes to lumbar, I think it's the best of the 3, simply because it can accommodate almost everyone. The lumbar has a huge height range and a big depth range, allowing you to increase or decrease the amount of support. A bonus tip that I think allows the Leap to be even more versatile is the ability to easily remove the added lumbar support. The lumbar depth adjustment still works because it bends the backrest, it just feels less pronounced than with the pad in. I personally remove the pad and then increase the curve all the way, and I love this feeling. The Fern also has a great S shape, but there's a bit more going on inside the Fern as compared to the Leap. The Fern has a 4-layer system that gives you a suspended feeling as compared to the feeling like you're leaning against the hard plastic like a lot of chairs. Give me the Fern without lumbar and the digital knit fabric upgrade, and it's my top backrest. I say without lumbar because the Fern has aggressive lumbar support and I just prefer less. It's It's a nice system though. It's an airbag, so it's still soft and you do get height adjustment. The digital knit will increase the price a bit, but it adds a layer of softness that I think is worth it. The Embody uses a pixelated node system like the seat, which makes it incredibly flexible. It also has an adjustment that the other two don't, back angle adjustment. This allows you to increase or decrease the angle of the backrest separate from the Recline. This gives you the ability to work fully upright or reclined almost flat. I absolutely love the Embody, but the biggest downside, as while many of you might know, is the lack of lumbar support. It doesn't have height or depth adjustment. The chair cannot adjust to you. You need to fit the chair. Luckily for me, I do, but this is not going to be the case for everyone. While the arms are typically not the reason most people buy a chair, they can certainly be the reason why people don't. While I love the arms on each chair, there are reasons why you may not like the options offered on all three models. Let's start with the Embody. Following the theme of the rest of the chair, the Embody has some of the most unique armrests I've seen on a premium ergonomic chair. The main reason for this is that they only went with two-way adjustment, height and width. Both ranges are massive, but not having any depth or pivot adjustment may pose a problem for some people. Herman Miller makes up for this by having really large and flat arms, so you do get a ton of surface area, and they're very, very comfortable because they're super soft to the touch. One bonus with only having two adjustments is that they're much more solid than models that have four-way adjustment because there's just less movement and they will never slide around. The Fern arms are quite different from the Embody because they are insanely adjustable. They have huge adjustment ranges for height, width, pivot, and depth. The adjustment ranges allow for anyone to use this chair with their arms in a comfortable position. The downside being that the arms can have stability problems. If you're someone that wants the arms to be locked in place, then the Fern may not be the best chair because there are the possibility for the arms to move unintentionally, a little bit more so than the other premium highest end chairs on the market, but this is the trade-off with getting so much adjustability. The arm pads are also good and they're more comfortable than most arm pads that I've used, so even though it sounds like I'm kind of knocking the arms on the Fern, I am comparing them to the Embody and then the Leap, which are two amazing arm packages. Compared to the other arms on the market, they are top tier. Moving on to the Leap has an arm package that is very similar to the Fern, but I think it's an upgrade across the board. You get the same insane adjustment package, but they feel more solid. There's less play in the arm frame, and the arm cap adjustments are tighter, so there's less chance of them moving unintentionally. You also get more comfortable arm pads. The arm pads are not quite as large as the Embody, but they're flat and softer. Aside from the Aeron, the Leap probably has the most comfortable arm pads I've ever used. Personally, I think the Leap has the best arm package in the industry. The biggest downside with each of these chairs is going to be the headrest situation. Now, personally, I don't put a ton of value in headrests because I use my chair for work and tasking mostly, but I can understand how important a headrest is for those of you that are also using your chair at home and for leisure. If a headrest is an absolute must, then I think the best choice here is pairing the Embody chair with the Atlas headrest. This will add to the already expensive price, but the setup is really nice. The Atlas headrest matches the Embody perfectly, it has great adjustability, and it's comfortable. The headrest offered by Haworth on the Fern is terrible. It only has height adjustment, has a weird forward position that pushes your head, and it's hard, so it's not comfortable to use. I feel the same way about the headrest from Steelcase on the Leap. It's positioned awkwardly forward as well, it has only height adjustment, and the padding is thin. Atlas does have a headrest for each of these two models. I just haven't had a chance to test them yet, but they might be a good option. While the Leap has done very well compared to the Embody and Fern when it comes to seat, back, and arm comfort, the Recline is where we see the main chink in its armor. It has a unique recline style that is meant to have more friction and be more grippy. The seat slides out slightly as you recline to keep you in a nice ergonomic position through the entire range, but it's not smooth and does not have a rocking motion like we see on a lot of high-end chairs. The Embody has the smoothest recline you'll find on any office chair, and it's my favorite feature on the chair. It features Herman Miller's harmonic tilt mechanism that can also be found on the Aeron. This mechanism has the smoothest action and a very deep recline. It feels amazing to recline in this chair, and it allows you to easily rock through the entire range very, very smoothly. Now, the Fern is closer to the Embody than the Leap. It has a more standard synchro tilt mechanism, it's smooth, and the recline range is large, but the seat doesn't drop down nearly as deep as the Embody, and it's not quite as smooth. The tension adjustment also doesn't allow you to use the full range of the Recline without using a good chunk of effort either forward or backward. Now, it may sound like the Fern doesn't have that great of a recline, but it's second tier, only to the harmonic tilt from Herman Miller, so this is still an amazing recline on a really fantastic chair. For me, these chairs are the absolute best of the best, but my current number one is the Steelcase Leap because of its overall pure comfort. I consider the seat, back, and arms to be the top of the mountain in the chair world, and although the Fern and Embody may be better options for recline or headrest, I weigh the comfort a bit higher and therefore prefer the Leap a tad more. But I think all three could be great starting points for anyone looking for that coveted S-tier pick.